Is on. Hi, hello, welcome. So we are doing our best. I'm trying again. So I'm using this microphone from my number one fan. Last time I was like, I don't want it in the frame. This time I still can't see. There's like a little LED indicator light that is probably obnoxious. So I'll try to give a warning before I check, but I'm just going to make a habit of periodically checking. I was charging it while I was charging my phone because I can't do both at the same time. And hopefully this time it doesn't die and I don't lose the audio. So, but that's what happened last time. I think the microphone died when I was pretty early into the video. Now it's a 2 microphone setup. So if it does die, I have the other one charging on standby. I was gonna like give one of them to my number one fan just to see if like they both work simultaneously. They're supposed to. Cool. So we're gonna see what's up with this full moon Aries that is happening like 18, I think, degrees away from the North Node. We'll just see what's up. So of course I was thinking, because I do that sometimes. In my spare time, I was thinking, I'm seeing all these cards that I saw. That's a card I didn't see. The 10 of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Because it is so close. This is so close. It's fine. And yes, I'm wearing my contacts. They're like the only pair that I have left that's not dried out. I have one blue lens. The left lens is still fine, but the right lens, I guess the case tilted and it found its way outside of the solution. So it is hard plastic. Hey, how's it going? How you doing? I don't have my glasses on now. So I'm using the Astro Matrix Tarot. Oh, look, King of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Hey, Holly, how you doing? I'm glad to hear it. Oh, Isaac, sorry. I thought that was Holly for a second. I'm using Astro Matrix Tarot. This side is kind of bent. You see that there's a slight, like, oh, R.I.P. I know, it's so, I feel like uncharacteristic almost of me to care. But bent cards just make me sad every time. This deck feels a little straighter. This must not be the one that I use all the time. So, oh, Queen of Wands. I don't know if I have any mods on here, honestly. Honestly, like, if the chat gets to whatever, I just kind of sort of tend to ignore it. So, if anyone's here and, like, genuinely trying to whatever, sorry. 8 of Wands, 4 of Swords. Now, I wish I could differentiate. I actually got 2 of these decks because if you go on the Astro Matrix app, it's this one. There are QR codes on the back of the cards. And you can scan it, and in the app, it'll tell you what it is. Oh, there's Rob Kenobi. No, I just went live. I stopped texting after I went live. Speak of the mod, and he shall appear. Oh my gosh, look, it's the death card. R.I.P. And the 8 of Wands. At least it'll be quick and painless. You know, what more can we ask for when it comes to the energy of death? Just make it quick and painless. I don't want to feel it, please. So this is the deck. When I first ordered this, they sent me an edition where all the card backs were or are the Fool. So you can see the QR codes are like the same. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. I've never noticed that. But before I even like said anything or whatever, they sent me out another copy where the QR codes are not all the same. And so somebody on the back end must have known. Yeah, these are different. Yeah, they're different. See that one, and you see that one. And I was like, that's cool. So, but now I have two versions of this deck. What am I gonna do? I don't know. One of these I want to do. This is another deck that's been in storage that I kind of want to use. I love to do. I guess I could do that. I'm gonna do. How am I gonna do that though? I'm gonna pull before and after the. I want to do before and after Aries and the Moon. So the Emperor and the Moon, and then I'm gonna shuffle the deck, and we'll do it this side, that side, and we'll just see what is up. Because that's me. Sometimes you just go live. Even if it's every day, it's been less than a day. I joke, I kid. I joke. There's the sun. Oh, wow. What a run of majors. And we just see what's up. For some reason, like I didn't want to look at these, but if I'm pulling from the bottom, I'm going to see. So that kind of almost defeats the purpose. Oh. Oh, gosh. Oh, golly. It was this. Yeah, because I saw that. The cards just went kersploosh. Queen of Cups and Temperance. I need more surface area. I need more. And there's my journey buddy. So on this side, the Page of Swords and the Four of Cups came out before and after the Moon. And then the Six of Cups and the Devil came out before and after the Emperor. I'm not doing flippers. And we'll cut it. There we go. I should have used the thing. I wonder how loud that is. There's Holly. How you doing? Rob just stopped by today. No one's on duty. Mods are a social construct. Now, how do I guess I could do this. Then I want to do it like this. There we go. Page of Swords, Six of Cups, Four of Cups, and the Devil. That's in the all fool side. Now, let's come over here, and I'm just going to pull. So this side, that side is like war. Somebody was just talking about war the other day. I felt like it was my mom. I'm going to pull off the top 3 cards face down and then a card face up. And that'll determine which side wins. So I do aces low, pages high. Kings and queens occupy the same space, and all majors occupy the same space. And if there is a tie, then I just, oh wow, justice and the lovers. If there's a tie, then I just pull another card, and we just keep going until something breaks the tie. Justice and the lovers, interesting. There's something about like this black and white tiling of justice, and then the rainbow colored wings of the angel and the lovers that bears mentioning. What does it mean? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. If they come out, then we'll dig into it. If not, then we'll just leave things as they are. So I should have brought out this thing. I'll just reach behind me. Almost like I'm gonna do it. Did anyone order whatever this is? No? Okay, I don't want to. And then I put this here, and then I set this here, and I get a little bit more space. I got enough space. Because then I can put this up here, and I can put this up here. Yep. Then I can do this. I know I'm going to get myself situated. And then this. Page of Swords, Six of Cups. There we go. These will fit. All right. So I'll cut it. The Three of Cups was at the bottom. Now it's the King of Wands. And the King of Wands is like peeking over here, like, what's going on over here? That's funny you mentioned that because I just started watching. So Markiplier is a creator that I don't necessarily follow, but every now and then he'll pop up and I'll watch. And he just put out a TV series, and he's trying to place top 10 on Amazon Prime Video. And the show opens up as the night watch, lazy security guards. They're like, oh, let's just like blow off the other part of our shift to go to a party. And they did that. So it's funny that you say lazy security guard, because that's what they were. King of Swords, King of Wands. Oop. That's okay. Wait. See, that shuffle or that mix was dirty. This King of Wands is like looking over at the full moon Aries cards that are already on the table. Like, what's going on over there, right? And then the King of Swords is almost like mind your business. It's interesting though, because just as this King of Wands is like gazing over at what's happening over here, this Page of Swords is like doing the same. They're both like sort of looking over in the other direction. But with the Page of Swords, it's expected because the Page of Swords has the rap of being the one who is curious about what's going on elsewhere, right? But with the King of Wands, like you wouldn't necessarily, and it's not that the King of Wands is copying or cheating or whatever, but with the King of Wands, you wouldn't necessarily expect for him to be so I don't know. Usually, sometimes he has like so much of his own things going on that he wouldn't even have time, unless there was something interesting. So we'll do that and then we'll cut it right here. From the bottom, we're looking for the same cards before and after the moon and the emperor. We got 5 of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles as the bottom 3. I have not used these often. They kind of, ooh. Okay, so we got the 7 of Wands, the moon. I kind of want to do this where they mirror each other. So the emperors will be on the inside, the moon will be on the outside. And justice. 7 of Wands, the moon, and justice. And after justice is this King of Swords. That was like mind your own business. Can you see that? But maybe instead of like mind your own business, it's more so like focus on what it is that we are creating, manifesting, desiring. Because being, I don't know, maybe it's a time where energy and attention is like precious. And so it's really to focus more on what we are doing. Some of these cards kind of stick. The world was stuck to the sun. So, and these are like kind of thick. I feel like I have not used this deck, I guess. I mean, I've used it a handful of times, maybe, but we're looking for the Emperor now. Both times, too, the moon came out before the Emperor. So maybe it's like before this, before the Aries of this full moon, it is a full moon, right? So there are things that Aries symbolizes, but there are things that the moon symbolizes, and it's like this is moon and Aries. It's not, I just got a notification. Oh, well. It's moon and Aries. It's not like any other planet. Just like keep the planet in mind, basically. Okay, but these are like not the easiest to like get through. It's like this semi matte finish. And like with this thickness, sometimes I'm like, is that multiple cards? Page of Cups was latched onto the Ace of Wands. Oh my god. Okay, we've got like here. Goodness. I was like, we got a handful of cards left. So it's Temperance, our Emperor, and the Ten of Pentacles. So on one side, I'm just trying to get these over so I have a little bit more room. This provides like barely any more room than the other Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Wands. We started King of Wands, King of Swords, Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Wands. Yeah, this is like just enough. On one side, it's the Page of Swords, the Moon, Four of Cups, Six of Cups, the Emperor, and the Devil. On the other side, it's the Seven of Wands, the Moon, Justice, Temperance, the Emperor, and the Ten of Pentacles. The Ten of Pentacles and the Devil card are they're similar in terms of like money. Right? It's like But the money of the Ten of Pentacles is more so like associated with abundance. The money of the Devil card is more so associated with like greed. Right. Temperance and the Six of Cups. Temperance could be doing an alchemy of bringing something from the past, or some kind of like modernization. Maybe there's a more holistic sort of viewpoint with temperance. Again, because it's like temperance and the Ten of Pentacles. So it's this coming to terms with the past as one prepares for their future. And then with the Seven of Wands and Justice, there is an energy of like taking a stand for something. And the stand doesn't necessarily have to be political. It's just so it's being in tune enough with one's values, ethics, and morals that it's almost like it's very hard to make a choice that doesn't align with what someone wishes or desires here. Because again, first and foremost, it's the full moon. And while the full moon encourages a lot more illumination than a new moon, it's still the moon. It's still not the whole picture. It's still in the realm of night. And so the Seven of Wands, though, is backed by the sun. Oops, maybe that's a thing too. This is one of those pro discipline posts where discipline is like when you get up and do the thing regardless of if you feel like it or not, because we're not always going to feel like it. We're not always going to be riding a high. The weather isn't always going to be great. And it's not that we don't take breaks or recharge when we need to take breaks and recharge, but if we're like trying to get something done, we aren't always necessarily going to feel like doing whatever. But that Seven of Wands is like, well, I feel like it's honestly a little double-edged sword. It's a little bit of a double-edged sword because it could be really easy to go like, oh, well, I was in a good place when I made this choice or decision, and this is what I really want, and I know that I want it because I wasn't like my brain chemistry wasn't affected by irregularities due to like all of these emotions or whatever. And on one hand, it's like, yes, that's admirable because when you come out of a funk, check on the mic. Yeah, it's still green. When you're coming out of a funk or whatever, or like when you come out of the funk, sometimes we wish that we would have kept up whatever, right? That we wouldn't have let it slip or slide or fall. But we are also thinking, feeling, growing, evolving beings. And what made sense when we were, especially if the clarity that we had was due to like a simplicity, when we know more of the factors in an environment or situation, sometimes we do pivot a little bit, or sometimes it is for us to take into consideration new information. So that's why it's a little like double-edged sword. Um, and then justice is on the other side of it with temperance and the Ten of Pentacles. Temperance and the Ten of Pentacles also has an energy that is one of like the sacrifices that we make, the things that we have to do in order to almost like keep the peace, to appease family, or to ensure that something. Look at this. Ooh, these cards are as stiff as that right contact that had slipped outside of the solution. It's like hard plastic now. And I don't know if my eyeball is shaped like that. And if it'll even be comfortable with it being that inflexible. So I put it in the solution. I'm going to let it soak, I guess, and see if it brings it back to life. There we go. Yeah, Temperance and the Ten of Pentacles. It's almost something that's very like, if someone is our friend or if we're working a job that we intend on keeping, sometimes there are things that we like overlook for the integrity of the friendship or for the sake of like still working wherever. It's compromises that we make for a greater, not just a greater majority in terms of like, well, I'm the only person that feels this way, so I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to cause whatever. It could be that, but it's just like ways that we have to compromise. And compromise isn't necessarily always a bad thing. It is interesting, though, to have compromise. And well, maybe that's why, because this was the group of cards where it's like, it's first and foremost the moon and a full moon, and then a full moon in Aries. So, like, Aries is the tertiary energy. Primary is it being the moon, secondary, the condition of full. Tertiary, it's in Aries. Because I was going to say it's interesting that on one side you sort of have a like stand your ground no matter what, but then on the other side it's about compromising for the greater good. And it is possible to do both. All right, that feels good. On the other side, again, Page of Swords and the Four of Cups. The Page of Swords and the Four of Cups feels like it's constantly looking for something that is missing. And again, first and foremost, it's the moon. And so we look at, are we looking for something to fill a kind of void? Maybe not aware of the sources of fulfillment that we have in our lives already with this Four of Cups, with the thing being presented, the cup. But it's almost very like void. Just in its, sometimes it could also be like, sometimes it's difficult for us to appreciate things until we don't have them. But it's almost like there's this backlog of appreciation that's created because it's like at a certain point, and the Six of Cups is here, at a certain point, we almost get like, we look at past things and we'll compare it to our current situation and we'll go like, maybe like, oh, I should have been grateful when I was at this old job because at least then I had a job, right? Especially if we are uh, have some kind of weariness, like due to unemployment or whatever. It's like, well, at least I had a job back then. Or like we get out of a toxic relationship and maybe like we're getting used to spending time alone or like not having a person there. And so we kind of sort of like glance over the toxicity and go like, well, at least there was a person there that I could do this with or do that with or whatever. But it's almost like this backlog. So we're continuously looking back and continuously overlooking things in the present moment. Like there's still something in the present for us to be grateful and appreciative of. And it's almost like it almost becomes this Rolodex, this backlog, this graveyard, if we're talking about like Magic the Gathering cards or whatever. After you play a card or a card does its thing, it goes to the graveyard, right? And we're constantly looking through the graveyard, but again, not appreciating the things that are for us still to appreciate in the moment. And that is what makes it easy, or like that's what makes us easy prey for devil energies. Because we're always looking back, or because we're trying to like chase a feeling, or there's something that we're all like constantly trying to feel. There's a low key energy of like addiction. But I want to say it's almost like It's not, and there's such a noticeable amount of awareness in this situation. So it's like, if we are coping in certain ways and we know why we're coping, right? It's not like we are coping and we don't know why, or we are affected by something and we don't know that we're affected by something. We just know that we love to chase whatever it is that makes us feel whatever. Um, there is an amount of awareness here. And it's almost a gratitude trap. But again, it's only a trap because it's a gratitude that's like related to the past. It's not a gratitude that's grounded in the present moment. I do not play Magic. I just buy the cards to pull on camera. I just buy the booster packs to open them and try to string together a reading. Um, my journey with Magic goes all the way back to high school, I guess, senior year. There was some people who played Magic, and I think I might have gotten like borrowed a deck to play. And then when I was a freshman in college, one of the guys that I connected to, one of the like three, he was into Magic, and he would like get cards, like a bunch of cards. He was like into it, into it. Um, and then a few years later, there was somebody else into Magic. And then a few years ago, one of my coworkers co-owned a game store. So I like got Magic cards to help support one of my buddies. And like you said, I love the artwork. Some of them may be worth something. So there's the collector side of it, even though I never look up what the cards are worth. And then I was like, oh, like I can use these to go live. So when I get booster packs now, but yeah. So, but there's always been someone interested in Magic around me. And then I was actually like gonna build a deck and I was gonna play, and it didn't work out. It didn't happen. So now every now and then I get a booster pack and I have all these cards. But now I have an Android phone. There was an app that seemed to have a better functionality on Android than Apple when it comes to like determining the value of cards. So if I got something that's worth something, it may be time to part ways. Am I the toxic whatever? Like, I don't know, because it's like the Six of Cups and the Devil, and almost like this chasing. It's like, well, this isn't fulfilling me. This relationship isn't giving me what I want. This job is blah blah blah, whatever. So I'm just gonna like toss it and keep moving. Oof. But hey, if I'm not doing nothing with it and it's worth some money and it's just gonna collect dust here, why not? Now I'm gonna like not gaslight, but like I'm gonna provide whatever. Why not sell part ways so that someone who really enjoys collecting in the game can have the card? And if they're gonna come up off of a couple $100, then it's a win-win for both of us. I get rid of something that I'll never ever use. I get some money and they get something that at least for a hot minute they'll be like totally into. So yeah, anyway. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, 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 oh. So was it this deck? It was this deck. I'm pretty sure it was this deck. Death came out in reverse and it fell on top of primarily the devil, but it also touches on the Four of Cups and, excuse me, the Page of Cups and then the Six of Cups, like in that order, like with how much of the cards that are covered by this death in reverse. But this was the deck, I'm pretty sure, that gave Death and the Eight of Cups at the cut. And it was like, you gotta die, at least make it quick. As quick and painless as possible. Right? Maybe some people want it slow and painful. We don't have to go there. It's spooky season. Scorpio season is coming. 2, 3, and 4. So the side, 7 of Cups at the bottom over here, 8 of Swords at the bottom over here. Um, so in both ways, at the bottom of the deck and with the cards that came out, the side that's going to take it, the side that wins, is the side of the Page of Swords, the 6 of Cups, the 4 of Cups, and the Devil. And I think, again, it's almost like specifically because of, and I don't want to say a challenge. I'll say a challenge. I don't mind saying challenge. Because of the challenge of being present almost. And with this, it was almost like all of these energies get funneled into like devil energy, meaning it's like it's something's ability to impact us in multiple arenas of our life. The 5 of Wands is the card for the other side with the 7 of Wands, Justice, Temperance, and the 10 of Pentacles. Because it's the 5 of Wands, even though this is a major arcana, I think this could go the other way. We'll just have to be mindful. Mindful to appreciate what we have and where we are, to be grateful for it. And then with this 5 of Wands, it also feels like there's an internal balancing component where, again, it's for us to know where we stand, to have a bit of determination and discipline, but not be so inflexible that we can't account for what is happening, especially when this Temperance is here. We don't want to be uncompromising because the 10 of Pentacles involves other people, just like the 10 of Cups. And so it's just like, it feels like it's a lot easier to just fall on the other side and let everything just kind of sort of like die. I mean, it is the Death card. But I think too, there is illumination here if we want to find it. I think we could turn with Death coming out on this side too. If we tap into how we like really feel, or what somebody said recently, something about like with the ego, it was something like the way that the ego goes about fulfilling itself speaks to like what is missing or what is hurt or something like that. Like there's a truth that's revealed in this. And so it's almost like if the page, if the actually the moon part of this, if the Page of Swords can use that awareness to, instead of 4 of Cupsing anything that may be like progressive or anything that may align with a healed or aware part of something, if instead like devil energy is 4 of Cups as the Page of Swords looks towards brighter, again, it's like it plays to the strengths of this other full moon Aries energy, but it does it, it's almost like it does it in a different way, but it does it in a different way because of how it's situated almost. And then it slips free of devil energy. It can slip free of devil energy. It's almost like what'd you say? The medicine is in the venom. The remedy is within the pain. And that was death in reverse. So it's almost like instead of it being like transformation, it's almost like something becoming more alive. And again, it becomes more alive because it comes more and more and more into the present moment where it learns that gratitude and appreciation and to value what it has. And it's not to never be reflective or introspective, but it's not to be so reflective and introspective at the cost of a present lived reality experience moment. Now, the three cards supporting death are the Knight of Swords, the Four of Swords, and the Tower. So, yeah, I feel like that the Knight of Swords is a momentum that is placed behind this new way of thinking. It's almost like, I don't know if there's, I feel like there has to be a word in some language somewhere of like when you basically like when you hit rock bottom but then you experience a swell in momentum that is like, I'm going to do everything. Like, there has to be a word for that. That's almost like this Knight of Swords. The Four of Swords is the focus, and then the Tower is like the result. But this Tower feels like it's like as the chains of the devil in this devil card fall and then hit the ground, like the Tower is what results. It's almost like these chains are so heavy that like when they hit the ground after they like take the chain from around their necks, when they hit the ground, it's like, you know, it's it's a whole thing. There's dust that comes up and the earth breaks, and then you're like, I'm done with this devil energy. And the devil energy is like, finally. I was starting to wonder if you'd ever free yourself. I'm kidding. Well, I'm not, but you know, I don't know, different devils. Some devils are like, no, get back here. Some of them are like, yeah, I've like been bored for literally decades at this point. Just like the demons aren't even really into it anymore. Like we know that it's our job to torture you, but it's like every like I don't know month, few months, few weeks, you get a poke from the devil. Like I'm still here, you're still here. Like it's time for your however frequently torment. And it was like back in the beginning when devil energy was fresh, it was almost like something like constant, like how you know devil energy is. But then after a while, sometimes again, hashtag not every devil, I guess. um but at some point it's almost like it gets like boring and repetitive because, and I guess that would be a devil energy that we are like destined to be free from. Not to say that there are some that we're destined to be enslaved to forever, but it's like especially because it's like there's a part of the self that reaches a certain point where it's ready to move beyond. And then after a certain amount of time, the mind, the emotional body, and the physical body like catch up. And again, like that's almost that like when the mind, the emotional body, and the physical body catch up to the point where the soul already is, like that is where that like source of energy comes from when we're at rock bottom that gets us to like skyrocket out of there. It's when all of us is in line with that. But there has to be some point in the beginning that um like we reach a sort of conclusion before we consciously reach that conclusion. You could say subconsciously. And the Four of Swords may be like just a time of like a lot of rest. It could be a lot of rest, a lot of relaxation, a lot of meditation, a lot of, it feels like allowing, not, it's almost like allowing a system, a chemical system to reach a sort of equilibrium, or to like flesh out certain things that need to be fleshed out. And so if we find ourselves in a place of rest, like recovery is also a part of the healing process. If we're recovering or resting, I think sometimes we can think of that as like not doing anything, especially like compared to the discipline on the other side. Um, but for the people who build muscles, they say, I feel like I've heard that sleep and rest is just as much of an important part of the bodybuilding process as every other process, because that's when your body actually builds those muscles. That's when like the micro tears heal and all that other stuff. With the tower, there's almost this like revolutionary inaction. Maybe that speaks to an almost hypervigilance that could have existed at one point, or like constantly, again, because of the constant looking with the Page of Swords specifically. I literally just saw, oh, it's on my phone. I literally just saw a post. I was scrolling Facebook before I went live when I was messaging Rob. I saw a post and it was like, it was a moth in a window, but the window was reflective. So essentially a moth in a mirror, although it was a window. Because, you know, sometimes windows are mirrors. And I guess as an aside, sometimes we need to see beyond the reflective surface of the window and realize that it's a window. It's not a mirror, but it's reflective. So to us, we can use it as a mirror, but we forget that it's like actually a window. There is more that exists outside or on the other side than just the me that I see. But it was like, what if we as moths don't, like, we stop looking for the perfect lamp and we find the perfect lamp inside of us or something like that. Hey, Rapthod, how you doing? I'm like kind of sort of in it. Did I say ray of light? Ray of thought. Ray of thought. So the three cards backing the Five of Wands on the other side is the Three of Wands, the Four of Swords, and the Knight of Pentacles. It's interesting that the Four of Swords is the middle card on both of these. Maybe the Four of Swords in the middle, again, it's this point where one almost takes on aspects of the other. It was that whole like, we could use that Page of Swords energy. We can use the Four of Cups to reject what devil energy puts before us. And we can use that Page of Swords to keep looking for the brighter thing. And we can find it that way. And then the more we intentionally, consciously object and reject things from the devil and invest in moving forward, the more it almost like morphs into an energy that looks like this one. So maybe the Four of Swords, that rest, that sacred rest, the recovery, is this touch point that allows for some kind of inter parallel travel to take place, timeline jumping or whatever. The Three of Wands, the 3 plus the 7 is the 10 of Wands, just like right off the bat. I didn't add the swords. There's 4 swords and then the Page and the Knight on the other side. So 6 of Swords energy, which was accurate for that. Over here, we got the Knight of Pentacles and the 10 of Pentacles, I guess. It's almost like the Knight of Pentacles coming off of the Ten of Pentacles feels like whenever, especially the compromise that was Temperance in the Ten of Pentacles, there's something about passive accumulation. Um, like we invest money, like passive revenue streams. We do something, the money accumulates for us, and we do nothing. So it's almost like this passive compromise. But with the Knight of Pentacles, it's like there are actions taken, there's movement, there is an active component. It's not the Knight of, Swords or the Knight of Wands, it's the Knight of Pentacles. But it feels like it's the Knight of Pentacles because it doesn't lose sight of the bigger picture. The Knight of any of the other Knights, um, the Knight of Pentacles can fall prey to like greed, but for the purposes of this, it feels like the Knight of Swords could be tempted to sway into like what it thinks is best for everyone. And so the Knight of Swords is like, we're going to do it my way. The Knight of Wands gets caught up in like their passions. Like, well, this is what I want to do. Like, screw everybody else. And so they go and do their own thing. The Knight of Cups, anybody's guess. It could be so many things. But it's like it gets caught up in its own air, its own water, fire, and the water of its emotions. Like, well, like, maybe I should consider myself more and do something that makes me feel whatever. And again, Temperance and the Ten of Pentacles, it's a little bit of compromise. So it's not that we don't do anything for ourselves, but it's just to be mindful of be mindful of the fact that how we navigate the world does have an impact on other people. And with this Three of Wands, this feels like whatever the dedication and determination of the Seven of Wands and Justice, these three wands is like, that's the reason why. There's something so self motivated, I guess. There's something so self motivated, but also like environmentally conscious and aware. And the environment in terms of like other people and the environment and like, But again, it's almost like the reason why the other side beat this one out is because there is so much to consider. There's so like this balance, like Temperance is here for a reason. It's a balance that's not necessarily precarious, but it's just like a lot of things to be mindful of. It's a lot of things to be aware of. And again, it feels like with the card coming out being the Five of Wands, it can compete with death. So sometimes it may be a little bit more of this Seven of Wands, Justice, Temperance, Ten of Pentacles. And other times it's a little bit more of the Page of Swords, Four of Cups, Six of Cups, Devil. The Four and the Six of Cups is 10 cups. 10 cups split between focusing on the past, anxieties, nostalgia, trauma, and being sometimes incapable of receiving the very things that we're asking for whatever reason. So yeah, mic check. I'm sure it's still on. It is. Okay, cool. All right, we'll get final cards. That was this. Why did I pull 2 full moon Aries energies? It's not like I did one sun in Libra and the other one moon in Aries. I don't know. It's just how we did it. Maybe we can call it the influence of no problem. I'm on my phone, so like I'm already not great with keeping up with the chat. But now it's even worse because it's this smaller screen and they vanish after like 2 seconds. I had a thought earlier to try to like guess what the nodes in Pisces Virgo may be. I feel like there is a certain pathway of almost like a renaissance. There could be an almost renaissance energy with the North Node in Pisces, like everyone being super like not necessarily dreamy, but everyone striving. You could say like North Node in Pisces would be a lot of efforts to make life better, to head towards a future that we like more and more and more and more. But with the South Node being in Virgo, that could be an almost a temptation to neglect the everyday mundane things that also need to change, or the things that need to happen in order to make that a reality. Right? It's like if we go too far into Neptunian, Piscean, dreamer, whatever energy, that could also be a tendency towards almost like a doomsday type energy. But it's like the world hurtling towards this final destination that is cemented again by the everyday things that happen. There's a lot of people that do a whole bunch of stuff, but there are some things that we knew were going to be a problem for a long time. And because of whatever corporate interest or whatever governing bodies or authorities, it was always like, well, that's a future problem. It's a future problem. It's a future problem. But someday, tomorrow is going to be today. You know what I mean? And yeah, sometimes it's easier to, I feel like that was a part of that. Like, it's important for certain things, sometimes for some things to not be open to interpretation. Because as long as it's open to interpretation, we're going to find some way to scapegoat or make it mean something that it doesn't mean, make it like a bigger problem or to minimize. But South Node in Virgo was like, it's almost like South Node Virgo is almost like the everyday hero. Like there are little things that we can do every day to make these impossible dreams reality. But sometimes we're so high in the clouds that we don't see our feet on the ground, or we don't even have feet on the ground. So maybe not. Maybe I'm just full of it and making stuff up. But with the way that we apparently handle the nodes, it's like sometimes we go so head fast into where the North Node is or was that we almost like just completely snap that polarity. Or rather than focusing more on the North Node to resolve it overall, we kind of do whatever. So, final card from this half of the deck, please. This is the half that won, I guess you could say. From the side that gave us death in reverse, which was all about coming more to life, we get the Queen of Pentacles. There's something here with this Queen of Pentacles of being open to receive the bounty of nature. It was the Gatherer, I think, the Gatherer in the Mystical Shaman Oracle cards, the one that I read reluctantly, and then I was like, oh, maybe I was a little hasty. It was like there was a time where we just lived off of what grew naturally. We didn't have all of these ways of preserving things and whatever. We weren't like planting grains. We were just living off of what was brought, what was in bloom that day or whatever. And it's not that we have to go to an extreme of like only um, eating or only consuming in whatever way. whatever is fresh, because there will come a season where what is fresh is in limited supply. And one of the things that got us where we are today was discovering preservation. Back when it was about getting us through the winter and maybe less about all the chemicals, whatever, wherever you stand on it. There was a purpose at some point in time. But it's just being open. And then the bottom of the deck is the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords was actually in this deck. It was the final card the last time I used it. So it was at the top of the deck. Oh, I got a potty, but I'm using my phone, so I can't just do an AFK screen. I have never seen a face back here. It looks like there's a face in the rain, like above her head. It's like I saw it and then I didn't see it, and now I kind of see it, but I don't see it. It was almost like a face back there in the rain. Low hanging fruit, Cushiel, Angel of Punishment with the rain. It was like, oh, you want to rain, hey? Hey, you want to rain, eh? Three of Swords, Page of Cups, and the Moon. Three of Swords, Page of Cups, and the Moon. But what I didn't see was the Queen of Cups behind that Page of Cups when I was just looking. This most obviously low-hanging fruit reads as guilt, shame, blame. This is the reason why we don't allow ourselves to receive whatever natural bounty is being offered. And it's heavy and personal. And the Page of Cups, because of the Page of Cups, it almost brings a certain naivety to the Three of Swords, which makes it feel like it's mostly stuff that we didn't know. Or we're just not gonna go there. We're just not. It's like unfortunate circumstance, with unfortunate circumstance being like a near severe under representation, understatement. Unfortunate circumstances being a massive understatement of some events that may have actually occurred, and how it causes us to think about ourselves. But on the gamut of experiences that weren't under our control in general, it's very much like, here's a $20, here's a crisp 20. Who wants the 20? Everyone raises their hand. You spit on the 20. So, I'm sorry. Is it close enough to Scorpio season to play Scorpio? You crinkle up the 20. You do all kinds of stuff to the $20 bill, and you unfold it, and everyone still wants the 20 because we realize and recognize that the value of that 20 didn't diminish because of what was done to it. It still retains its value. But when we are the 20, and when we overly relate to, or when we overly attach to those circumstances to the point where it's like those circumstances are all that comes to mind when we think of ourselves, then that can make it difficult to believe that we are worthy or capable of receiving anything better. That's heavy. That almost feels like Cancerian, maybe. Or also Scorpionic. It's like, depending on how deep it goes or how heavy it was, the passage to Scorpio is one of a variable length. It can be real quick or it can be real slow. And the ascent out of it can be as evenly paced. So the other half, the losing side, which has a fighting chance, it's just very like complex, convoluted almost. Final card, please. The Seven of Cups, which was the card at the bottom of the deck. The Seven of Cups and the Five of Swords at the bottom. Honestly, with the Seven of Cups and the Five of Swords, there's this feeling that not every option or opportunity is presented. For some reason, it feels like the Five of Swords is withholding, or the Five of Swords are these perceived barriers of entry that make something like almost impossible to break into. But it's almost very much so like what is for you is for you. So I got to go to the restroom. I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey, and where you find. And I hope that when the time comes for you to experience new and different and better, that you stand available and ready to receive it. I hope you a mind to be open to new truths. That what things were, maybe what they have been for however long, it's not only not how it's intended to always be, but maybe there was some kind of falsity. So I'll see y'all next time. Bye.